Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 492, recorded live on Sunday, October 22nd. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have two returning guests. Welcome back, Asheris.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, welcome back. And also Arcot.
Hey, Patrick, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to today's show.
Yeah, I think we got a really fun one here for folks today. We'll start with the screenshot, though, which is this is from 2 weeks ago because we had a week off, which of course means we have so much to talk about because, I take a week off and they throw in like a month's worth of news all in 1 week when I'm gone. It's great. But this screenshot was from 2 weeks ago. Beautiful screenshot. I love this one. This is Ravenloft prepares to get spooky on some devils in the 337th screenshot of the week. Very lovely shot. I like the Aurora Borealis effect going on there. I think is that in Shavrath?
I think so. That looks like an angel being crucified up there on that post.
Yeah, probably. And I kind of, if you're going to get spooky on some devils, it seems to be appropriate that you would be in Shavrath. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can watch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website, DDOCast.com. DDOCast is hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network. Shows are usually available within a few days of recording, and the next show will probably be next weekend. You can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or our website, DDOCast.com, with our calendar. On the podcast this week, we got our first look at Ravenloft, particularly in terms of pricing and bundles, so we could talk about that. That's a lot of fun. A lot of stuff to kind of go over there. We're going to kind of do a surface level flyby of that. We're not going to get too in depth. We're planning another show down the road in a couple of weeks that'll really dive deep into that. But we'll cover that in a little bit of a flyby. Night Revels came out, so we get to talk about that. Let's see what else is there. We got a patch. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff. If you ever wonder why there's these periods of time when there's not really anything newsworthy, it's because I haven't taken a vacation and taken a break from a week. Because every time I take a week off, they throw in there's a whole bunch of news. It's great. Not really, but
Well, they do that on purpose, Patrick. They want to,
sure.
drive you crazy.
This is driving me crazy. It's exciting to have news to talk about. We go through a couple weeks, a month and a half without really having a lot of news to really munch on, and now we got a whole lot at the same time. We knew it was coming. You can see this pattern all the time. Right before release of a whole lot of news, there's not really a lot of stuff coming out. Let's see. But our topical discussion this week, we're going to talk about VIP Plus. This is not something that we know is coming. Let me start by saying that. This was... we're looking for something fun to do, to talk about, maybe exercise the creative part of our collective brains on the show and stuff like that. And Cordovan has talked about on the show and some other places a couple times where they've talked about having like a VIP plus. And where that kind of comes from is when they transitioned from Turbine to Standing Stone Games, there were there's questions about are they going to raise the prices for VIP? And they said basically, no, we're not planning on doing that. We might. We're not planning on doing it. But what's more likely to happen, not that it is happening, but a more likely scenario would be that they're going to give us a higher tier VIP plan that you could subscribe to and get more stuff. So what we thought we would do, have a little bit of fun, we're going to pitch some ideas of what you could get out of a VIP Plus plan. Hopefully that all makes really good sense. So again, none of this is happening for sure. It's something they've kind of floated as a high level. Maybe someday we might do this. But we thought it'd be fun to just kind of go to town with it. So I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of like go around the table and just kind of share one thing until we run out of things or until we run out of time. We're going to keep this topical discussion a little bit shorter so we have more time to talk about Ravenloft, which means it won't be it'll be less than an hour. That's the goal here. So, Arcot, why don't you kick us off? Well, actually, before you do that, I want to just throw out a couple of quick things just to kind of the easy things, right? more of a VIP XP boost. There's all of these bonus days that come through, like the Treasure Hunter, Guild Renown, or like consumable potions and stuff like they could do stuff like that. So you could get just a permanent loot boost, a permanent Treasure Hunter boost, a permanent boost to Guild Renown, that kind of maybe you get a permanent Slayer boost or something like that. So I just wanted to kind of throw those ones out really quick, just kind of loop in the bonus days ideas. So Arcot, why don't you kick us off with some of the more creative ideas we've come up with?
Well, whether it's creative or not is debatable, but I was thinking, actually, I had several points, but let's go with one of the maybe more creative ones that I thought of. Is maybe an updated Raiders reward box, so that it allows you, maybe for a VIP Plus person, for maybe one time a year, you get what's called an updated Raiders reward box, and you open it up and it could provide you with a lot of different things, but I think probably the thing that would appeal most to many of the power gamers, at least, would be access to any one particular raid item from whatever raid you're looking at, except for the most recent one, or until a year passes from the last raid. So you could get something from RSO, assuming the raid comes out for Ravenloft. So you can get anything you want from RSO or from any of the other previous raids. I think one of those a year, I think would be a pretty attractive thing for VIP Plus.
Certainly be attractive. I think you'd definitely start to bring out the pay to win pitchfork people.
Yeah, but it's VIP Plus. You're paying, sure. Normal VIP you're paying what, $10 a month now. Yeah. So if you paid $15 a month, you're already sinking some cash into the game anyway. So,
I mean, let's face it, a lot of the stuff that's already in VIP, like the XP boost and stuff, is kind of you're paying for a faster experience, so to speak. I think I don't know if I would say like the most recent one as much as I would say like it has to have been at least a year before they add it to the box or something like that.
Sure.
But it's certainly an interesting philosophy. And would it include tomes?
No.
Just the items. Okay.
Just the items.
Sure. And you're talking about one per account.
One per account, right? Exactly, and one per year kind of thing. The tomes and stuff are store items, so you wouldn't want to put those,
sure,
in the boxes.
I think there's definitely something to be said in terms of it's one item per year. It's probably not going to be game breaking in terms of pay to win arguments like that. But it's an interesting idea. Asheris, do you want to go next?
I had a similar idea that was a little bit different. Also an annual reward that grows every year that you have your VIP. So there's a first year VIP bonus, then a second year, and a third year, and a fourth year. So that if you've got someone who at this point has been VIP since launch, you'd be looking at them getting an 11-year reward box. And the reward box works more like a saga reward list. So there might be XP stones in there. There might be renown in there. There might be hearts of wood in there. Various just common sort of things that you would think of that slowly gain value. At year one, you're not getting much, but by the time you've been a VIP for 5 years, that's a pretty special milestone. Maybe at 10 years, it's an even bigger milestone. To reward that ongoing dedication and commitment to the game, and at the higher levels, maybe there's some unique clickies in there that only a 5 or 10 year VIP can have, for example, or maybe a unique cosmetic effect again that you only get by having put that kind of time in, and those sorts of things I think would be really great, because I think it would encourage people to stay VIP besides just the ongoing benefits.
I think it does. Both of your ideas do pose an interesting problem. They're interesting ideas, but you have this aspect of when do you get it? Do you have to be subscribed for an entire year before you get it? Do you just have to subscribe like the 1 month out of the year that you would get these bonuses? So there'd be some interesting dilemmas there. Maybe you can only subscribe to VIP Plus if you do it for a full year at a time. So there's some ways around it, but there's an interesting dilemma there.
Yeah, I would think it would be 12 months. So, like, for example, what I was thinking was, let's say you subscribed for 6 months and then you let your sub lapse and then you came back because an expansion came out and you were interested in it and you subbed for 9 more months. Well, 6 months into that, you'd hit the 12-month point, you'd get your reward. And then whenever you hit 24 months, it basically would be counting months, since the month right now is the smallest delineation you can have. And as you hit the 12, 24, 36 month points, you would get your annual reward box for that tier, basically.
Sure.
And
Gumsgang says it sounds like a VIP loyalty reward program. He's probably not far off. Sean does in the chat room also has an interesting point here of like once a year seems like a long time for a less intense player, which is true. So one of the things this is kind of a cheapy one, but it kind of falls along with that what Sean was saying in our chat room of it being a long wait. We've got silver and gold daily dice rolls. We could do a platinum roll, right? Which would probably be something more like a monthly roll, or bi-week, or every 2 weeks, something like that. But I think you can easily make the jump it up a little bit, have it more commonly going to give you a more useful consumable, shall we say?
Yeah, well, one of the things I had in my list of things was the idea that you could either get gold rolls more often than once a week, or that anytime you're doing a dice roll, kind of like we have with the loot, where you have the plus 10 to your loot roll or whatever, you maybe the super VIP automatically gets a plus 10 or a plus 15 to their daily dice rolls, whether it's whatever roll it is, so that they're automatically getting a little bit of a bump up in those tiers.
Wouldn't be terrible. Sean's also saying that instead of a reward every year, you could do a reward every update. Which you could stack those on top of each other and have the reward and every update be something thematic, or maybe you get an item from the update right off the bat, or something like that. That could be kind of an interesting.
That could work.
Mechanic, yeah.
I think so. I think the concern there would be about lessening the value of running that content when it's still fresh, but
sure.
But if you're talking about someone who's investing this kind of money in the game, they're probably going to play either way.
Again, is one item per account really going to make a whole lot of difference? Maybe, maybe not. All right, Arcot, what else do you got for us?
Okay, how about year-round access to plus 20 hearts and plus 7 tomes? It seems like at least a few of us, are at least, dying for, I see posts on the forum saying, when are the plus 7 tones come out, or when the plus 20 hearts going to be available? Well, why can't VIP Pluses have year-round access to any of those?
Yeah.
Yes, you're not saying they actually get them. You're saying that they just have access to purchase them.
That's right. They see them in the store, and regular VIP and free-to-play and premium players do not even see them in the store.
So what you're saying is you're paying for the privilege to spend more money.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. And might as well include the autos boxes there too.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I like that idea. Like right now, I'm dying for autos boxes to come back in the store. It's been way too long, and we got Ravenloft coming in 6 weeks, so got some past lives to knock out.
Yeah. Right. Let's see. Asheris, what else you got?
Let's see. A lot of the stuff I had was, one of my things was that, and I'll pitch something else that goes a different direction too. When I started thinking about this, I thought that it would be really great to have 3 tiers rather than just the current tier and the super tier. I'd like to see maybe a tier 1, which is less than current VIP, which is really just content, races, and classes. And make that be a slightly discounted version, and then have the current tier, which is all that plus some more, what we currently get, the run speed, the extra character slots, et cetera, et cetera. And then the tier 3 would be the one that we're talking about now. And like you said, the biggest thing I would want to see on an ongoing basis, besides these periodic things we're discussing, is things that make game time play more efficient. What I'm paying for is I'm paying for every minute I'm in game to be slightly more efficient. And we have some of that now, but remnant, I get 25% more remnants when they drop. I get 25% more comms of valor. I get 20% more tokens of the 12. In addition to the XP, maybe when I hit a collectible node, I've got a 25% chance to get a double drop on that instead of just a single drop. Those sorts of things to me would be interesting.
Yeah, I was kind of going down the same road you were with, like the percentage of more stuff, and kind of where I ended up was, well, what if instead of it was just a percentage more, it was just across the board, whenever you get like an ingredient, you have a percentage chance to double that number of ingredients. And the reason why I kind of ended up there was this idea that, well, if you get 25% more of ingredients, but you're only getting one, like the shroud, you only get one ingredient out of each chest. How does that work? But it was just across the board. Say you had like a 30% chance to get double ingredients, which could apply to things like raid runes,
That'd be
scrolls,
awesome.
seals, and shards. Technically, challenges, stuff like that. But like a percent chance to get double the amount, which is, I mean, you can go back and forth on is it better to have a percent chance to double, or is it better to just have a flat bonus? I think both would be, if you could do both, but then you'd have to like figure out which ones to do, and it kind of becomes more complicated. So I think it becomes easier to just say a percent chance to just double the number of ingredients that you get.
Yeah,
Well,
that sounds great.
And it seems like that's already in the game in Slavers, where with the ingredients, you're normally getting 10 or 11, and then all of a sudden you can get 30. So that same concept applied across the board for the Super VIP would be great.
What else you got, Arcot?
So far we've been talking about stuff that would seem to appeal to the power gamers. The +7 tomes and the extra ingredients and all that sort of stuff. Well, there's also a segment of the gaming population out there that aren't necessarily, interested in those things, or they may also be interested in other things that are less power gaming. So, for example, the cosmetics. So for those folks that like, having the cosmetic pets or the, cosmetic outfits or the cosmetic, weapons or auras and stuff, why don't we make, or why doesn't SSD make some very special, special cosmetics only for VIP Plus folks? Whether they're available in the store or, they just happen to get them, along with, I don't know, a pack or something. How you get them is debatable, but I think the point is if there's some very, very special and very, very cool looking cosmetics. So for example, there's a big sword that's strapped to the back of Singar Agranon, who's the lycanthrope hunter in the Necropolis. That I saw on the forums. Somebody posted pictures of that and really, really wanted to have it. And Linabelle looked into it, and evidently there was some clipping issues with introducing it. But fix that, and then add it. Make it available as a cosmetic for VIP Plus. I mean, I guarantee you, Elanwi, who's the big VIP, or rather, cosmetic person, I guarantee you she'll be a VIP Plus, and she'll be wanting to access all the really cool outfits and stuff.
Throw in some pets, and you'll get even note on board.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they could actually play in well too with the idea of having something that you get every once in a while, and that kind of a thing. So that Ash was talking about earlier, where you get something, every once in a while you get, he was talking about like the every year you get kind of a bigger and better one, kind of an idea, but which I think would work out pretty well in that kind of a thing. And you can go a lot of different directions with that too, because people like cosmetics and all sorts of cosmetics and pets, weapons, armor. I know if you could maybe have dyeable armors, that would be a really big hit as well.
I bet you if you made cloaks somehow available, visible cloaks to VIP Plus, I guarantee you the Turbine would make or not Turbine, but SSD would make just a bank.
Yeah,
They would make a bank.
Those are all things that people are really looking for and hoping to get. So, let's see, what else do I have on my list? We talked about kind of an XP boost. Add more XP boost. I think you could have just an even larger bonus for Reaper XP. Again, it's kind of catering more towards the power gamer types. But it would definitely, there's plenty of those people around that would like to be doing that a little faster. One thing I see on your list that I think we should talk about is Veteran 3 status, or possibly 4, which I think, is it just one? Is it one? Just one, right? VIP gets. No, they don't get anything, do they? It's just different.
I think it's favor reward. I think both 1 and 2 are favor rewards. But I could be wrong about that. I know 2 veteran status 2 is definitely a favor reward level, but I'm not sure what 1 is.
They both are, and they've been available in the different packs that have come out as well. So
all right.
I don't think there's any that are tied to VIP, but you could do that. I think it's kind of an interesting one though, because how much would people want that? I mean, it's a nice perk, but do you think people would really be enticed to? I mean, probably not going to be the make or break point for people, but our VIP is going to want veteran status, which you can only use for a new character, right? Like, you don't get to use it for a reincarnation. Now, if they made it when you reincarnated and started at level 4,
ooh, that would be very attractive, and you didn't have to be an iconic. That would be very attractive.
Yeah, there's definitely there would be that would entice some people, because if when you reincarnate and you start at level 4, then you're farther up the chain, right? It's kind of what Ash was talking about earlier, where you're paying for the convenience of it taking less time.
Yep.
Speaking of Ash, welcome back. Dropped out for a minute, but
Thanks.
Yeah.
Fun internet connection issues. But you guys talk about the idea that TRs could start at a higher level than 1? Yeah, that was one that I had on my list too. That's a really great idea, I think.
Maybe that could be Veteran 4, right? Start at level 4, even with a reincarnation character, and stuff like that. Wrestling in the chat actually has an interesting idea too, is starting with max build points. So you could say that if you're VIP plus, you just
2 more build points.
You could do more build points. I'm kind of hesitant to go that direction, but I think if you had VIP, okay, the game player in me, it would love to have 2 more build points, but I think there's valid reasons to minimize how much you do that. But if you're VIP, again, this wouldn't cater necessarily to the longer term crowd, but if you just got access to 32-point builds while you were super VIP, I think that's something that would be viable as well. So, anything else you guys have on your list of things that perhaps VIP plus people could be interested in?
No, I'm for moving on to Ravenloft.
No, I think that's good. I mean, any of those would be great. So hopefully folks at SSG were listening, picked up some good ideas.
Yeah, and we don't even need credit. We're not asking for any of that. We just want to see some fun new options, right?
Absolutely.
If they want to test it out, I'm more than willing to be a beta tester on it.
I'm willing to be a consultant. If they want to, pay me a little money to consult, I'll be right there.
Oh, who are you kidding? You'd probably do it for free.
No, I would not.
Work for Remnants.
There you go. All right, so there it is. There's the shortest topical discussion I think we've ever had while I've been here. So, let's see. So that means we get to move to game news, which means we get a second screenshot of the week because I missed a week. This one is Saifu prepares for the upcoming Night Rebels event, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. First, let's talk about Ravenloft. Ravenloft information. It's not here, but it's pretty close, right? And hey, we were correct. Ravenloft Prepurchase came out with update 36 patch 3. So we'll go over the packs. Again, we're going to try and do kind of a high level look at this. We're not going to try to stay out of the weeds, as it were, because we're going to come back to this in a couple weeks. We're going to do a show that's going to be on previewing Ravenloft, looking at the packs more in depth. Which one should you buy? Who should buy which pack? What are kind of the things that are in there? But we'll give you the information here, and we'll also kind of share some thoughts on it. Again, that high level approach. Gumsking is saying you can smell the mist in the air. Good way of putting it. All right, so pre-purchase. So you can pre-purchase Ravenloft now. So the standard edition, which is $39.99, includes the Mists of Ravenloft expansion, ASMR race, and a Survivors package, which is 20 Astral Shards and a Supreme Resurrection cake. The collector's edition is $79.99, which has the Mists of Ravenloft, ASMR. I remember that it says a character slot, but I remember there was like some debate about what gave a character slot and what didn't. I think this is correct. The collector's edition gives you another character slot. There's an improved Survivors package, which is 50 Astral Shards, 2 Supreme Resurrection Cakes, and an Ethereal Rush Shrine. You get the Universal Vistani Knife Fighting Tree, a Heroic level Scarecrow Hireling. It's a level 10 Hireling. An exclusive Barovian Cosmetics, which is an Aristocrat's outfit and Aristocrat's hat, and the exclusive Black Cat cosmetic pet, as well as a 30-day VIP code. The Ultimate Fan Bundle is $129.99. So you get the Ravenloft expansion, ASMR character slot, an Ultimate Survivors package, which is 140 shards, 3 Supreme Resurrection Cakes, 2 Ethereal Rush Shrines, and 5 Mirrors of Glamoring. At Vistani, you get the Knife Fighting Tree, the Barovian Cosmetics, you get the Vampire Hunter Cosmetics, the Vampire Hunter's outfit, the Vampire Hunter's hat, come with those. You get the cat, you also get a Raven, a 60-day VIP code, the new iconic Scourge ASMR, and you get a Weapon Aura Mist for every character. You get extra 10 shared storage upgrade slots, a racial enhancement point tome for every character, and a bottle of mist, which teleports you to Barovia. Some of that stuff you get, if you buy this, you get it right now. Some of the stuff you have to wait for, which is, I think, basically, I don't think the iconic is available.
No, it's available.
Is it?
It's
It is.
available right
Okay.
now. Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
I think the only things you don't get are the actual expansion itself, and then the bottle of mist, and then the racial enhancement point tome is also not available right now.
That's right. That's correct.
And as we'll talk about later, some of this stuff will be available in other ways, which you obviously can't do yet. You can only get, like the Vistani Knife Fighting Tree will actually be available through favor as well as points. But if you just want to get it before then, you can just get a bundle. Should we talk about the bundles, or should we go through the FAQ first?
Well, yeah, I think, there's a couple of other things real quickly. One thing to note is that all of the cosmetics, both the Barovian and the Vampire Hunter, are
pets.
bound to character. And the pets are all bound to character. So you're going to get an icon that looks like a raven in your character inventory that when you click on it, those will expand. They'll all be bound to character. So those aren't bound to account, and you have to move them around through your shared bank. You're going to get those on each and every character you create. And they're going to take up inventory slots on each and every character you create. So pros and cons there.
You're gonna have 6 inventory slots unless you want to destroy them and maybe never ever get them back. It's gonna take up 6 bank slots forever and ever and ever.
One thing I'd like to point about the cosmetics, the outfits and the hats. Well, especially the outfits. The outfits now, and this is the first time they've ever done this as far as I know, they now can work on Warforged and Bladeforged. Usually you had to get a docent that, I guess would sort of kind of show the same sort of thing, but now you don't. It's like now it seems like they have the tech to make outfits. Like, so if you had a Blade Forged monk, you could at some point, maybe if they make them, get an outfit, a monk outfit, instead of a docent or something, a cosmetic docent. So so they've definitely made some tech changes, so that the assassin, or rather the undead hunter, or the Barovian outfit will work on no matter what character you've got, what race your character is. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
The vampire outfit looks really neat too.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, I'm wearing that on Asherus right now. Really like that outfit.
I think I put the Barovian outfit on my my cleric, so he's got the witch hat, and then that which works out really well.
One other thing to note is that these are represented by 3 separate codes. You're going to get a code for the Mists of Ravenloft, a code for the Survivors package, and then you get a code for the VIP time if you bought the Collectors of the Ultimate Fan Bundle, and you can use those on any account. They don't all have to be used on the same account.
True. So you can give them away if you wish. I know you guys wanted to talk a little bit about pricing, which is a bit of should we say sticker shock? For a lot of people, these are more expensive than previous bundles. I think Menace of the Underdark, the upper tier, came in around $80.
Yes,
if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And Shadowfell Conspiracy came in at, I think, $30 and $50, if I remember correctly. It was
Could have been
$60 or somewhere around there. It was cheaper than Menace of the Underdark,
yes,
as I recall.
Yes, it was.
The one thing that really jumped out to me pretty quick when I was looking at these bundles is I think they did, for better or for worse, they did a better job of backloading stuff into the Ultimate Bundle, the highest tier bundle, to make it really compelling to buy it. Because a lot of the cosmetics are back in there. More shared storage is pretty nice.
Well, that ASMR iconic, the Scourge, is in there as well. And so if you want to get all of the pure content and system stuff that they're releasing, which is basically the Mists of Ravenloft content and sentient weapons, which is all part of the expansion, as well as the Azamar base race, the Vistani tree, and the iconic, you've got to go for the Ultimate Bundle, because the only place that iconic is available is in the Ultimate Bundle.
Right.
Which I found, I was surprised by that. I'm not saying I disagree with it, but I was surprised.
Noticeably missing is other content and points. The previous, at least Menace of the Underdark, their bundles included like Vault of Night and stuff like that. And I think both Menace of the Underdark and Shadowfell also included a small amount of points as well, which this doesn't include. Which I thought was
points from the VIP though. A 60-day VIP, for example, is basically 1,000 points.
It is true. And those, if you're wondering, those would extend your current subscription.
I think SSD missed the boat on this. The collectors, the Ultimate Fan Bundle's got some very cool stuff in it, but it seems less geared towards the power gamer than it is towards like the more casual or cosmetic oriented things. I think they could have come up with another, maybe the Ultimate Fan Bundle 2, made it the same price, but instead of have the cat and the raven, maybe you have more points, or maybe you have something, maybe a I don't want to say an Otto's box because that's pretty expensive, but stuff in there that would have appealed more to the power gamers. And I think you could have had, you could maybe have doubled your target audience in size, or doubled the audience that would have been interested in getting it. So a little more variety, I think, would have served SSG better.
I think
Yeah,
there's
I
a
think the
pretty good mix. I mean, you've got the racial enhancement tome, which, by the way, implies that there will be such things available in other means, because it's pretty typical of how that has happened. And the shared storage is in there as well, so I think it's a little bit more balanced. But I see your point. There's definitely more of the stuff that's in here is the cosmetic stuff. I think I forgot to mention the upper tier has it's not. I don't know why it's not on the list. They have the level 10 scarecrow and a level 30 scarecrow as well, which also I think kind of leans in that direction as well. So
it's my understanding the level 30 Scarecrow has around 2,900 HP ballpark.
I haven't summoned him
Uh,
yet.
I think the level 10 one has around 600 or 700. They're pretty robust in comparison. Like, for example, I think the cat has about 600 at level 18. I don't recall what the owlbear has.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'll definitely say, like, when I looked at the bundles, it was I kind of went through the process of that's more money than I wanted to spend on this, but I do want to get the Ultimate Fan bundle. Compare that to Shadowfell, where I didn't get the upper bundle because the stuff that was in there wasn't compelling enough for me to get. So
likewise, I didn't get the upper bundle for Shadowfell until it was on sale later. And although the way the Shadowfell bundles worked with the ability to buy extra points when you bought the bundle, it was actually in some ways worthwhile to buy the lower tier, be able to get the $50 or $60 for 11,000 points, and then upgrade yourself again to the upper bundle. I'm not sure there's that value proposition here, where to start at a lower tier and then upgrade yourself again later on, which also might be a little bit of a miss from a revenue standpoint.
I would say too, if you like the sticker, I get the sticker shock. It's more than we were expecting. Well, it's more than we wanted. I think we were kind of expecting it based on what we saw with
Lotro. Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, I think given the pricing on the Lotro, the pricing itself was kind of the writing was on the wall there. I expected prices in this range. All I didn't know was what was going to be in the packages, and I think that, like Arcat said, the meta gamer, power gamer might not be seeing quite as much as they were used to seeing in the previous packs.
Yeah.
But I think that's just one segment of the player base. There's a lot of other segments that are probably looking at this and liking it. I know you have one regular guest on the show. Is it Even Note maybe, who wants to have every cosmetic pet in the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so folks who like the cosmetics and like the pets are probably very excited to see those included in there.
And I'm not much of a cosmetics guy, and I do like the cosmetics on this. They do look pretty sharp. I probably wouldn't care. Like, that's not the reason why I bought the bundle or got that bundle. But I do want to mention too. You have to remember that the pricing here it includes VIP codes, which if you value. I mean, I know you can get the cheapest version you can get is like $9 or $10 a month. But if you're not buying it for the full year and at the special pricing, then it can be more expensive. So if you don't have VIP and you're taking it as that, you could consider that probably around $20 to $30 as well in that pricing. Gumsking in the chat actually also suggested that the pricing may not be something that Standing Stone Games is actually getting to set. It may be Daybreak, the publisher, that sets those expansion prices. My understanding is it's consistent with other games, not just Lotro and DDO and Standing Stone Games stuff. So that part may actually be out of Standing Stone Games' hands. I don't know, and I doubt we will ever really know. But you can read between the lines. If all the Daybreak Games expansion packs are using the same price structure, there's probably consistency behind that. So
yeah, but I'm going to bet though, Patrick, it's up to SSG to actually fill those those packs with with value. So
yeah,
we might get stuck with $130 pack, but they can make it worth it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think well, if these packs sell well and they're hitting their revenue targets and they're hitting their volume, sales targets, then they're going to stay where they are. And this is the sort of thing that we'll probably see going forward.
Yeah,
But-
and the big unknown here too is how good's the content.
Yeah.
I mean, we really hope it's great content, and we'll be running that. So
That's
I
a
do
fair
want to.
point. I mean, there are 2 raids possibly in here. 1 raid for sure, possibly
Yeah.
a second, and that's more than we got in Shadowfell or Menace of the Underdark.
Yeah, I think the content is more or less around Menace of the Underdark. I do want to move. Let's move on to the FAQ. Some stuff there. Can you purchase the expansion with store points? Yes, the Mists of Ravenloft expansion will be purchasable March 2018 for points in the store. The ASMR race will be $13.95. The Scourge of the Undead Iconic will be $12.95, and the content itself will be $24.95. It's great that you'll be actually able to purchase it in the store. They can't do that with Menace of the Underdark and Shadowfell Conspiracy right now, which is kind of unfortunate. You would think that they would kind of figure that out sometime in the near future, but if you buy the pre-purchase, so starting now, you will get most of the items. The other content will be, they're saying the delivery date will be December 5th, so we're expecting Ravenloft to come on the 5th. However, in this it's an event of a delay, the expansion will come out no later than January 5th, 2018. So I really hope for SSG's sake that they get that out. Because you think about that, like they gave themselves a month of a buffer there, but with the holidays, you kind of figure it's maybe only like 2 or 3 weeks of a buffer.
Yeah.
So
Going
hopefully,
on vacations. Yeah.
hopefully they get some family time. I really hope it comes out on time for their sake. How do you add the expansion? You open the store and redeem the code there. Again, as Ash was saying, the fan bundles, the VIP part will be a separate code, as well as the Survivor package, which is that's a 1 per account item, not per server. It's per account. So wherever you use that, that's where it's going to go. If you're already a VIP, the additional time and use the additional time will push your next billing date out by that amount of time. You can give those to your friends, although they do recommend that you make sure you're given the VIP code and not the expansion code by mistake. That would be unfortunate. If you don't pre-purchase the expansion, yes, you can get the items at a later time. This is kind of interesting because with the first 2 expansions, these were exclusives to the pre-order stuff. This one, all of this stuff will still be available after the expansion goes live. It's not exclusive to pre-order. You do have to get the expansion in the marketplace. So if you just go to the store and buy stuff with points, you won't get the extra cosmetics and stuff like that. But if you go to the market and buy it there, even a year from now, you'll get all of the stuff that's in those bundles, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a little more progressive. It's a little more progressive way of handling it on their part. I think it's a good move.
And so just a big thing that people have been asking for years is, how can I get the Onyx Panther? You can't.
Well,
It was only available during this time.
Yeah.
Which, from a cosmetic standpoint, I think that works better for a cosmetic thing, but like a permanent hireling thing, I see the point where it's, but I want this now. And I wasn't around, or I was out of the country, or that couldn't get it at that time. So it's pretty neat that they're going to allow people to get that later. Let's see. So if you want to see what the cosmetics looks like, you can check out the FAQ as well. Yeah, that kind of covers most of that stuff. There were some questions. We talked about briefly the raid. The pre-purchase page only lists 1 raid. So they're planning to release a second raid, but it's possible that raid will shift out of the release for the rest of the content. So they didn't want to include it in the official page. That said, they do currently have a second raid being built. It's possible the raid will not be released for the rest of the expansion. However, it's also possible the raid will be released in time, but they didn't want to commit to that. So that's why all the stuff only says 1 raid coming. I think it was 12. I think it's 12 quests, a raid, and 2 wilderness areas.
2 wilderness and I think 1 public, or it might be even 2 public.
Or maybe it was 1 wilderness and 2 public, something like that.
Something
We
like
are
that.
getting wilderness
Yeah,
areas,
something
which
like
is awesome. But so they're saying there is a second raid. They just don't want to put it. They couldn't put it on the pre-order page because if it wasn't ready in time, then legality reasons, it kind of makes it a problem.
The lawyers were making noise.
Yeah. Well, I think that they more than saying that the lawyer said the reason why they have to deliver things by January 5th. That's a lawyer thing. So they probably said in response to that, well, oh, let's take this raid out of there, out of what we're promising. We're still doing it, but we're just not promising it's going to be on December 5th, which I think is, we may see this more often too. We've seen it through this year. If the stuff is ready, they like to give it to us now, right? Like they're not waiting to make sure everything is ready and they're delivering it. I think they actually did that with the Menace the Underdark raid too. I think Caught in the Web came like a week late. But in any case, we are getting a second raid still, hopefully. They're still building a second raid. They're just not guaranteeing it's going to come out with the rest of the pack, or at the same time as the rest of the content. There's a question about why the cosmetics are bound to character. So basically, it's a new kind of, not necessarily new, but it's kind of a paradigm that they're going with right now. Is they try to avoid making items distributed upon character creation to be bound to account. That prevents people from rolling up a character and then getting an infinite amount of the thing. So basically, their new best practice not to give bound to account things that are granted upon character creation. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Vistani will be available in the DDO store. They will also be earnable on a per character basis through Ravenloft Favor. They do expect, Trey wasn't sure, but he was somewhat confident that once you unlock the knife fighting tree, it would persist through reincarnations. One would hope so, or that would be kind of problematic.
Yeah.
They also, as people are also asking about cause fear effect for the Scarecrow. They did have that as an idea, but unfortunately it was breaking things, so they had to scrap it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. There you go. Anything else we want to say about Ravenloft before we move on?
I'm excited
about
it.
That mist glamour. I like the weapon.
Oh yeah, I haven't used it. Yeah.
Mist. That's pretty cool looking, I gotta say.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm really looking forward to the content mainly though. I'm excited to see this is coming, and December 5th. It's pretty close, so hopefully they hit that date.
Mm-hmm. And I think I don't know if we mentioned it too. I think the Vistani tree and the ASMR are free for VIPs as well if you don't buy the pack. The content is not free to VIP. You have to buy the expansion to get the pack, to get the content, or wait for merch. So, all right. So let's get into the rest of the game news, shall we? Update 36, patch 3, had a second version on Lemania and is also now live. I don't think there was anything that didn't come out live. So this all hit with so update 36 patch 3 had a second run on Lemania while we were on hiatus for the week off, and then it came out the next week, last week on Tuesday. So some of the stuff that's in there. So the Night Revels has they did Coalescence Chamber as their 7th Night Revels dungeon, which not not my first choice of a dungeon to get a Night Revels treatment. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Well, they actually did it pretty well. My wife and I, we played it a couple nights ago, and it wasn't nearly as long as a regular Coalescence Chamber run would be. So it was. My wife found out something very, very interesting about the new, and I won't tell you what it is, but it's some behavior when you click stuff that doesn't work quite the way it should. So, anyway, it's an interesting and it's a fun little dungeon, and I quite frankly I enjoyed it.
At least they gave us air jets.
Yes.
That wasn't too bad, but there's a red variant of the Reaper's plate mail, and helm too, I think.
Yep. Yeah. Those look cool. I'm going to be getting a set of those.
Same here.
There's some new items. There's a pick of Endless Light, which is a light pick. There's a Star of Endless Night, there's a Morning Star, a Great Club. There's a dagger and a throwing dagger, which, going through what they have on the dagger and the throwing dagger, which are essentially the same. There's just one you can throw and one you can't. Are quite nice.
Yes, they're very nice.
Ghost Bane, Evil Outsider Bane, Vorpal, and Crushing, which is a force damage on crit.
Absolutely.
It's 19d8 on a crit. I mean, it's a double. It's 19 or 20. It's a 19 or 20 range. So I mean, if you get like all the crit range, enhancements and all that sort of stuff, I mean, there's a chance you could do a ton of damage just on one throw or one stab. They're really nice.
And
for a lot of players who are saying they don't have a good weapon to handle Reapers when they're doing the Reaper content, and also be able to deal with the champions, these are a great weapon to get, maybe even at the lowest tier, so that they can really, before they get weapons that might fit their build better, even if they're not going to focus on knives or daggers. These are great weapons to have.
Yes, absolutely.
They're also, all these items are not, it's being pointed out in the chat, they're not items or type of weapons that we typically get a lot of named items for either, particularly in the throwing dagger line of things. Yeah, they're pretty nice.
I'm not a huge fan of the Morningstar per se, but the Morningstar will be I believe is one of the items that works with the new iconic Scourge as well, with the maces and everything. So that's a nice fit.
I mean, it's nice that they have different items that are available and stuff. Different types of items are more available, even if they're not highly used. If someone wants to build a Morningstar build, they should be able to have some named Morningstars to play with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
A couple of, Patrick, I mentioned before we started, there was a couple of things that I wanted to mention in
hang on
Night
just
Revels.
a sec.
Go ahead.
I want to mention a couple other things about Night Revels. The other existing items got recipe upgrades for level 28, so you can have level 28 items now. They're basically just beefier versions of the ones before. I don't think there's anything like really new on them. Also, your 2016 items have gone away. Although I did notice when I bought my new candies that they still say this will disappear at the end of 2016.
Typo.
So I think someone didn't check their cut and paste.
Right.
Hey, I have a question because I haven't run Night Revels much yet. I've been out of town traveling. The new items, do you have to purchase the tier 4 one and then upgrade that to the next tier?
Yes, you have to keep upgrading. It really sucks.
They did, I think, reduce the costs for doing the upgrading thing though. Like the level 4 dagger only costs like 15 ingredients, like 10 of one and 5 of another, and then the next level is like 10 of a different one and 5 of a different one, and the previous one. So it looks like it'll be less time consuming to do that part of it. I do not believe that they decreased the cost of the augments, however.
No, the augments are still 60, 60, 60, 60. Still the same.
So, and I don't know if those items are. I didn't check to see if the items are bound to character or bound to account. I think the augments are 80.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 80, and those are bound to account. No, they're not bound at all.
The augments are not bound.
That's right.
But the items, I think, are.
Yeah, they're bound to account, except for the cloak. The cloak, for some reason, is bound to character.
Yeah, I have to check. I haven't checked to see if the daggers are bound or not. I should probably do that, because if they're bound to character, that's probably going to change how I approach getting them, if I want them or not. In any case, okay. So Night Revels, bigger picture. You want to talk about Night Revels?
Yeah. So they added like the pick of Endless Light, which is basically the same as the hand wraps of Endless Light, and they really made the newer items like the crystallized eternity or the daggers. They scaled, as their effects scale, like with the new scaling that they introduced with Kenneth crafting. So, but the pick of Endless Light, for example, does like the coruscating damage is like 2d6 of light damage, and that's at level 28. And so the upgrade recipe for the hand wraps basically created a very similar item. The only difference between the level 24 and the level 28 hand wraps of Endless Light are the fact that it's plus 12 or plus 14 as opposed to plus 7, and they're 5d6 of damage instead of 2d6, and that's it. The everything else that was on it, the coruscating, the sunburst, all that stuff are the exact same. So it's for me, it's not even worth putting in the time or the energy to get the ingredients to update my level 24 hand wraps of Endless Light and updating to 28. There's absolutely no reason for me to do that. It's just better for me to use the epic scraps of enlightenment that you get from the Archon's trial. They're better in almost every way, and they're a lot less effort and time to get them. So I think the picks of Endless Light and the upgrade for the hand wraps of Endless Light, I think, were throwaway items, or they just added them at the last minute, or they didn't take very long to really think about the upgrades to them, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, time's always. I imagine time is something of a valuable commodity right now since they're working on Ravenloft. So I think we're pretty lucky that we got new stuff just in general out of it. But yeah, I don't plan on upgrading any of my items to level 28, mostly because I have other stuff that I think is better than the 28 versions already anyways.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I think it's great that they do have level 28 upgrades, though. More choices, not bad. See, other stuff that came out. Favored Soul, they changed the name of the Favored Soul War Priest enhancement tree to War Soul. It does not affect the Cleric tree, which is still called War Priest. It's just a name change. They also added a multi-selector to the Divine Might enhancement under War Soul. Probably one of the reasons why they made the changes so they can have this not being War Priest. So you can get Divine Might, which is what it I think currently is, which is the insight bonus to strength equal to your charisma modifier. You can also get Divine Presence, which adds 1/2 of your charisma modifier to melee damage and tactical DCs, or Divine Will, which adds 1/2 of your wisdom modifier to melee damage and tactical DCs. So that's kind of fun. The ASMR Scourge of the Undead came out. It's a new iconic. It's a ranger that will, with +2 to wisdom. They start with the favorite enemy feat Undead. They also get racial lay on hands, so healing hands. So it's very similar. It's basically lay on hands, except it's your character level and wisdom modifier. Let's see. They also get a bond feat. It's exclusive with warlock feats, so they only get one, and it's the Constitution and Fortitude saves instead of the other options. The past life feat. The passive is you get +1 Fortitude save per time the feat is acquired. The toggle is 1% double strike and 2% offhand double strike per time this feat has been acquired, up to 3. That's not terrible. Let's see, stuff that they get in the racial enhancement tree, they get more use of the healing hands. See, they get proficiency. They get some proficiencies with some blunt weapons, and if you're good, those are considered good for damage. Let's see, get some bonuses for 2-weapon fighting. Basically, the idea is that it's a 2-weapon fighting line that focuses on clubs, light maces, heavy maces, and morning stars, which is probably why we got a morning star.
Yep.
And then there's some other kind of stuff with that. See anything else? I'm just kind of cruising through this to make sure not somebody totally missed.
The tier 4 thing for the Scourge, a divine form.
Yeah.
Where you could be a Scourge, and at certain levels, as time progresses, you get better and better, but after a minute goes by, all that stuff explodes and basically could kill you, kind of thing. So. I question the wisdom of getting an enhancement that if you're not paying attention could wind up killing you
It's
without even fighting anything. How is that fun? I don't know that that's very fun.
it's certainly an interesting mechanic.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Well, I'm pretty excited about the changes to the favored soul, not because they're, well, I like that they considered the fact that the wisdom to charisma, or the charisma and wisdom to damage needed to modify that, but the fact that they're looking at now separating the cleric tree and the favored soul tree allows them to balance them separately and maybe do some unique things when they eventually do a pass on the favored soul trees. I'm hoping that's the case, and I'm looking forward to what they'll come up with then for this newer war soul tree when they look to modify it.
See, also coming out, Tier 3 in Vistani knife fighting tree now has the option to be centered when fighting with daggers, with deadly blades.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That is very cool, actually.
That's huge for a lot of neat builds.
Yeah.
Several posted some stuff. So, actually, I'm going to come back to this. So the other stuff that came out with patch 3, clerics on the path are no longer forced to select their Tier 2 and higher domain feats. If you're on a path, they will now be chosen for you. The Font of Healing clerics get healing domain. The Scourge of Undead path now get good domain, and the War Priest path gets war domain, and the Sun Elf gets sun domain. Those all make a whole lot of sense to me.
Sure.
They did some work on the DDO store, so if the system, it will now open your system browser if the embedded browser fails to initialize. Still, if you're in the early operating systems, it defaults to an external browser. Let's see. Talked about Night Revels. They corrected some attack animations with Dragonborn, and iconic Deep Gnome is erroneously giving 1% dodge per rank in addition to its other bonuses. That's been fixed.
Doggone
it. Right. Reincarnation changes were made to the way players reincarnate. So we talked about this before. The idea is to try to make it more bulletproof. But they also have additional tools to identify and restore lost items in the process. That doesn't work if you lost items before this patch came out. Non-bankable items will not be moved to the reincarnation cache during reincarnation. Will instead be moved to the front of your character inventory. That's kind of interesting. These are items like the iconic hero loot boxes and monster manual reward bags. That's probably useful to not lose on reincarnation. Although, why would you not open the iconic hero loot boxes? I mean, all the stuff in there is pretty much racial required that or iconic hero. So, but sure, if you want to collect them, I suppose. Let's see, how do I want to do this? So we'll come back to that. So Steelstar did post it. They reduced the cost of Night Revels items across the board. It kind of varied from item to item. He said they love to add new things every time an event comes around, but it's simply not feasible in every case. They were able to work in adding a considerable number of new items to Night Revels this time, but that's the exception, not the rule. On the top of the Aasimar, he said the standard Aasimar are from Eberron and can take Eberron deity feats. The iconic Scourge Aasimar is from the Forgotten Realms, can take the Forgotten Realms deity feats. The other thing to talk about, this is what I skipped. So Severlin chimed in on a few things. The first is they have doubled the Reaper XP for dungeons with a base CR of 30 or higher. So if it's on normal, a level 30 or higher quest, the Reaper XP has been doubled. That's to kind of cater to the people who want to stay at cap and don't feel like staying at cap is very profitable in terms of getting Reaper XP. So that should help there. He also did confirm, so on live, the chance for getting a named item increases as the number of scrolls increases. The chance of getting a Reaper bonus on an item also increases the number of scrolls the skulls increased. That's something that kind of comes up every once in a while, but I think that's about the most definitive statement that we've seen on it. So.
Yeah, even if it does come up, 1/1000th of a percent per skull. Yeah, I guess technically he's right. It does increase, but I guarantee you, a lot of people will never ever see, will be able to tell that, hey, yeah, I'm getting a lot more named items because I'm on 10 skulls. Baloney. If you tell me you can figure, sense, or at least can tell that you're getting more, I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, I mean, like, numbers are always kind of small anyways, so.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that that's a base increase in the XP, which means that it applies before all bonuses. So that really can get magnified, and the number is not just double at the end; it's double at the beginning, and then that gets multiplied by whatever pots you have on or whatever bonuses you earned in the content. So,
but hey, more XP. We like more XP.
Absolutely.
Always like more XP.
And maybe they could like give it a 50% boost for like the level 20 to 29. Anyways, also on the bug side of things, the war domain is actually granting the martial proficiency. It's just not properly displaying on icons, so they still look non-proficient, but do grant the proficiency when equipped. Exotic is still not being granted.
There you go. Yeah.
So there you go. Bonus days is Night Revels, which is running, I think, through, what do they say, the 5th? November sometime? A while. Sorry, I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I think November 5th's right.
Somewhere in that range. The sales for the week, it's a Monster Madness sale through October 26th. You get 30% off of Monster Manual, Slayer boosts, and more. You can also get a free Bell of Opening. The coupon code is OPEN. Up, please, PLZ. There you go. And that will bring us to community news. The 254th Chronicle of the week came out. This was last week's episode, not this week's. DDO Players News celebrated their 50th episode and has a special first look. Axel finished part 2 of the Achaeus short story series with a new audio and written story. I didn't get a chance to listen to it. Did you guys listen to it at all?
No.
Let's see. Psycho Blonde is running a series of screenshot contests and is linking winners in a master thread. Some really great screenshots, by the way.
Yeah, there are some good ones in there. I've been paying attention to those threads.
Always pretty impressive. See, there is no guild for the week. It's an advertisement. If you're a guild leader and looking to find new members, recruit through the DDO forums. You can click there to find the recruitment forums. The comment for the week is: which is scarier, a wraith or a zombie?
I said zombie because, if you're gonna have like nightmares, you definitely be afraid of the Z's. See, double entendre there. Get it? Zombie, and then Z's for falling asleep. Get it? Never mind.
A for effort. I don't know. You could go back and forth on this. I think though, at this point, because of all the the zombie games and watching zombie movies and stuff, and the heroes always win and defeat the zombies. I don't know. I think a wraith is a little scarier, right? Wraiths can go through walls.
I agree.
That's kind of a problem. Zombies, you can erect barricades, right? Wraiths can just go through them. So, you got a problem there. Let's see. A Very Bad Guild put together a clip of highlights. We got a shout out for talking levels 10 through 12, leveling through 10 through 12. Bachelor Gore plays DDO every Saturday. Musk returned to streaming DDO. Fred Strand Haywire Foundry on Reaper difficulty. Thorsarian walks the Butcher's Path with permadeath. Ozzy plays his 007 build. Jasmine wrecks Twilight Canyon. Even Note gets tangled in Roots. Bard Life got the job done, and Titan is back on DDO stream. There you go.
Is that the Titan Shadow, or rather Titan Channel, or what is Titan?
Titan is back on DDO stream, so the official DDO stream page.
So Titan's a person then, as opposed to a. Okay, I gotcha.
See, the 255th Chronicle, that is this week. Here we go. Night Revels is returned through November 5th. You can get +7 tome and upgrade tomes through October 22nd. So that's pretty great. See, voice actor Ali Murphy stopped by Standing Stone Games to talk the craft of voice acting and also Ravenloft. TN Blade has a new video maker looking at various wilderness areas of DDO. Hephaestus recorded a Movember-fueled visit by Cordovan to Kalanda. Let's see. The guild for the week. The Servitors of Sembia is an Orion-based guild open to new and veteran players at least 16 years of age. The guild has a secondary chapter on Kenneth. Get in touch with Zhu on either server to learn more. The comment for the week. What is the name of the most famous band from Barovia?
Oh man, I forgot what I wrote down.
Barovian Bandits? I don't know.
The Vamps. I put down I wrote my comment was the Vamps.
That works. Ash, you got anything clever for that one?
No, not really.
That's kind of a hard one. Let's see. Fansite News, the DDO Players News, got a shout out for the 151st episode. We got a shout out for our DDO Splat episode where we're doing pretty lucky on the rolls because we got a just running around before we actually got out to ADQ 1. I pulled a spell storing ring and two people pulled a bloodstone.
Yep.
Which was kind of ridiculous. Tales of DDO fought Drow for episode 77. Draculetta chatted with former SSG intern and developer Linabelle. Even though it has the latest cosmetic pets in a new video. Cavalier Cavalry has been updated with the latest Bard Life episodes. See, Very Bad Guild continued its trek on Wayfinder. Some other people were running some other stuff. You want to check out all those videos there. And that gets us through. Cordovan also entered a bunch of questions on Ravenloft on the weekly Wednesday lunch live stream this week. See, other stuff going on. DDO Players News did a Night Revels loot preview, so you can check that out. Voodoo, who's on the show a lot, looked at Scourge of Undead, the iconic video. He also did an animated Scarecrow demonstration. And he also, on the forums, did, or it's on YouTube, but I'm linking to the forum page because there's more of a conversation there, I think. But he did a video of the new ASMR dances, which, by the way, are pretty darn good.
Yes. They're way more...
at least the female ones.
Intricate than I would have expected.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with the male dancing, but the female dancing was pretty impressive. So, well done, devs there. Let's see. Axel DDO also had a video on Ravenloft expansion details as well. And the DDO Players News is doing a poll on Ravenloft of which bundle you're going to buy, so you can check that out. See what other people are buying as well. Might help you make a decision or not. I'm not sure. DDOcast news. DDOcast Plant will be back this week, which we're going to run the Demon Queen raid. And that will kind of be our last one for the year. We'll probably do something on Halloween as well, but probably shorter and probably do like the new Night Rebels quest or something Halloween themed. But we're going to take a hiatus, so we're just going to take November and December off. We've been going since the summer, I think. It's just time to take a break. And the holidays, that way we don't have to deal with holidays, who's in, out, and all that stuff. So we're going to take a break for a couple months. We'll be back like the second week of January, probably. There you go. General gaming news. This is a fun little article that I found. This is on a website called 538. They primarily look at politics and sports, but through a lens of very heavy data and stats and polling kind of stuff. So it's if you read any article, you're going to find probably 3 or 4 charts and graphs and poll numbers and stuff forming their opinion, forming what they're talking about. This article is your D&D character rare? So they had this. They basically analyzed some data from. There was an online way that you could create characters for 5th edition, and they basically boiled it down and said and pulled out. This is how many characters were this race, and this is how many characters were this class, and kind of put them together on a chart and said, what are the most popular ones? Human fighters ended up being by far the most common So the most common races were humans and elves. The most common classes were fighter, rogue, and wizard. But I thought it was really interesting. So, and it's related to this, so I'll link to that in our show notes as well. Kind of a fun little thing they got going on.
Yeah, stats are right in my
Wheelhouse.
my alley. Wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, they're right in my wheelhouse, and I found it interesting that for barbarians that the half orcs are slightly outpaced by Goliaths. I just thought that was pretty interesting.
This is kind of interesting, yeah. But it's a neat little read. You can see, how popular the characters are. And, they propose some reasons why that is, min-maxing and stuff like that. But
Yep.
It's not a very long article. It'll probably take you 5 minutes to read. In any case, right. That will bring us to Lightning Post. So this came from our show a couple weeks ago on looking at leveling between levels 10 and 12. Fuzzy Duck wrote in, as he often does. He generally runs interacts as Haven, since it's good XP to be had and a lot of unique enemies for the monster manual, which is a good point. So that's a lot of fun. I also tend to get a fairly good amount of XP just running between the quests, because if you take a little bit of a detour, you can hit like 3 to 4 extra explorer points. It gives you a little XP there. He likes running Vaughn 5 and 6 at heroic level, but in his opinion, the main reason people don't bother is because they want the bravery bonus for later, since it's relatively easy to run even on Epic Elite. Tip of Spine has always run things at heroics, and it's got great XP, and the loot is plentiful, and the named gear holds up pretty well. They did a passive of it recently, which is part of the reason why it does, including the relatively rare Druid-compatible medium armors. Yeah. Although I think they're a little bit more common these days, but yes, Druid armor is something of a problem. He likes the desert. The lore in it's pretty great. It's worth reading the story and stuff as you go. He always does the side pyramids in the desert to make sure he has the seals for skipping the Ginny fights in Epic Wiz King. I would do that more often if I could reliably find the seals in those other tombs.
Sure.
You gotta find them all around. It can be a little tricky. See, enemy within is likely the first encounter with mind flayers as an enemy. If you're a warforged, it's worth letting yourself die to their brain-eating ones, just to let them see them blowing chunks when they realize that tin food doesn't agree with them. I
never noticed that. How about that?
Yeah, that would
cool.
be. That's a nice little touch, right? Relic of Summer Passes is one he always runs. Great XP and Trap Monkey fun. He loves the framework quest. Pay attention to the optional objectives. They're hilarious. It's true, they are. This is not a quest, but level 10 is when Kenneth Crafted Loot gets its third effect. This is a great point. For stat boosting items, he recommends holding off to minimum level 13 to go up a tier and make the item with a total of plus 10. Keep it going nicely until level 20 or what. Yeah, I've kind of dialed in on like 10, 13, and 18 are the prime levels for making stat items for heroics. That's where you get some nice boosts. Ace Mar looks pretty nice. Knife Fighter Tree also looks pretty good, and he loves the new animation style.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the knife fighting tree. I concur with that assessment.
This is one of those, like, if I had an infinite amount of time to play DDO, I think it'd be really fun to take each. And I've said this before, like take each class and build a tank out of them. But now I was thinking like it'd also be really cool to take each class and build a knife fighter out of them.
Sure.
Sure. And just kind of see how it plays. Again, if I had an infinite amount of time, I'm never gonna do that because I don't have the time to do that. But it would be really fun to see some stuff.
They certainly are encouraging you to make a monk now with a knife fighting monk.
Yes. I was actually thinking a knife fighting wizard because I'm doing a couple wizard lives, and I'm not very good at playing a wizard. I tend not to be great at playing casters in general, but wizard, I'm not very good at playing wizard. The DC thing is always something of a problem point for me.
Sure.
But I was thinking, I could do throwing daggers and Vistani Knife Fighter maybe and supplement that, and then go Sharadi and Magic Missile and throwing. Maybe that'll work.
That might work.
So, the survey questions of the week. This came from Dawn. So we were talking about this wasn't from. We were talking about rewinding decisions and stuff like that, and one of the things that kind of mentioned was Dungeon Alert. I think this is kind of an interesting question. Don said, if Dungeon Alert is broken, how would you fix it? So I'll start by saying I don't think Dungeon Alert itself is broken. I recognize that there's areas where it ramps up too fast.
That's right. It definitely triggers. Sometimes you go to, we get orange and then red very, very quickly, and you don't even know why.
Well, there is definitely a thing where it's it definitely is a thing that you go from orange to red faster than you go from yellow to orange, from green to yellow, and so on and so forth. But there's definitely points where you go into an area and bam, you get red alert. Yes, that's broken. So I don't know that I'd say the Dungeon Alert is broken. There's places where it doesn't work well. How would I fix it? He has the idea of letting stuff drop from trash mobs, which technically can happen because you get remnants and tea bags.
Bags.
Well. Yep. So, as far as fixing it, I think that's kind of tough to say because I think you still don't want people to just like cruise through dungeons too much. I'm kind of used to it now that I've accepted the penalty and stuff. The only thing that I would say that I want to fix is I think the Harry is too aggressive on it, but that doesn't really fix the problem of if Dungeon Alert is broken.
Yeah, without understanding, the code and all that sort of stuff, it's hard for me to say whether it's broken or not, or intended. So I don't know if it's I don't know if it's broken. I agree with you. I think there are probably places where it doesn't work as well as it should.
Yeah, I'd just like to see them maybe tweak which quests actually have it, if it's something they could turn on or turn off in certain content, where because of the nature of the dungeon, it's just not as effective or not necessary potentially. They've kind of there are certain packs where, because you have to kill mobs in order to open a door or something like that, the dungeon really isn't even all that necessary because you're not going to progress without killing the mobs anyways.
Yeah, I think if your current dungeon is broken, to fix it, I would say instead of it having it be each specific mob, like each specific monster that's attributing to Dungeon Alert, if it was groups. Because then it would be if you get a large group or a couple of large groups to spawn in a short amount of time, it doesn't just jump up to red alert. It says, it kind of spreads it out, and sort of if a group has an impact on it. So if you get like 4 or 5 groups, then you're starting to get to a red alert, as opposed to these two groups, one of which is on the floor above me, has 30 monsters in each of them, and now I'm at red alert, but I can't get to the other one. Then you only have one grouping of monsters. I think that could possibly work. I'm not sure from a coding perspective, but
right,
it's about as close as I can realistically get. With that, we'll close out the show. It was a fun show, a lot of Ravenloft talk. We got to talk about VIP Plus a little bit. That was kind of fun. So do you guys have anything you want to plug before we head out here?
You know what? I just am dying for information on sentient weapons. I mean, we're just getting fed little bits and pieces. Like I think I saw something like there's going to be 6 personalities because evidently they hired 6 different voice actors. So they're letting some stuff out of the bag, but oh boy, it's really frustrating with how very little it is. So yeah,
Don't listen to Linnabelle's interview.
Yeah, so I just want to listen. I just wanted to plead with the devs to give us more info on sentient weapons.
Linnabelle's interview on DDO Players News had a lot of teasy stuff on some of that. Like, I still want to tell you about it. I can't, but this is going to be really awesome. Like, that's not helping. Yeah. Asharis, anything you want to say here before we close out?
There's a lot of threads in the forums about, which server is the most populated, which server, because my server's dead. I just want to say, if you're playing U.S. primetime hours, say like 7 or 8 to about midnight Eastern time, that Kyber's really busy. So feel free to come on over and hang out with us, run some quests. We'd love to have you.
Yeah. All right, so we'll close the show here. Thanks for listening to the show, especially the folks in the chat room. Had a pretty lively chat, and that was kind of fun. Sorry for those that I didn't comment on. Can't catch all the comments. But thanks for being a part of the show. Thanks for listening to the show throughout the week on your drives or whatever you're doing. Thanks to my guests here, Arcot and Asharis, for joining me today, and all the contributors for DDOCast. It's a great group of folks. And to Sending Some Games and the Wizard of the Coast, and to Cyber for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOCast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. You can hit us up at DDOCast.com for our show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, swag, and other fun stuff. If you'd like to be a part of the show or have a comment on this episode, or maybe a question you'd like to hear us answer or a topic you'd like to hear us kind of debate and dive into, or if you just want to say hi, leave us a comment, or you can email us at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media and follow us for latest cast updates. Our closing tip for the week comes from Todd on Kenneth. It says, Slayers and Explorers. Great way to get a lot of fast XP. A lot of fun there. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather for bus.